Are you ready to open the door to a conversation that might change everything you thought you knew? We need to talk because avoiding the truth only builds walls between us. Sometimes the hardest truths are the ones we need the most. Are you prepared to face them? We need to talk about the silence that's been louder than any argument. Are you ready to be honest? Even when honesty feels like admitting defeat. This conversation could be uncomfortable, but comfort never made us grow. We need to talk because pretending everything is fine is slowly tearing us apart. Are you ready to listen deeply, not just hear what you want to? The moment we start this conversation is the moment we start healing. We need to talk because what's broken can be fixed with the right words. Are you ready to stop running from what's real and face it with courage? This talk is the bridge between misunderstanding and connection. Are you ready to cross? We need to talk to find out if we're still walking the same path or diverging forever. Are you ready to be vulnerable, knowing it's the bravest thing you can do? Sometimes talking feels like stepping into the unknown, but it's where we find clarity. We need to talk to reclaim the honesty we once promised each other. Are you ready to share your truth, even if it feels like shaking the ground beneath us? This conversation could be the start of something new or the end of what we knew. We need to talk about the love that's been buried under layers of fear. Are you ready to let go of pride and pick up the pieces together? Sometimes the words we fear to speak hold the key to unlocking freedom. We need to talk because silence breathes out and now destroys trust. Are you ready to hear my truth without judgment and offer yours with honesty? This isn't just a talk. It's the heartbeat of what's still possible between us. We need to talk before resentment builds a wall too high to climb. Are you ready to be seen fully without the masks we've worn for too long? We need to talk because the story we're telling ourselves isn't the whole truth. Are you ready to listen, not to respond, but to understand deeply? Sometimes the hardest conversations are the first step to healing wounds no one else can see. We need to talk about the hope that still flickers beneath our fears. Are you ready to risk it all for the chance to be truly honest? This conversation might break our old patterns, but it will also build new foundations. We need to talk to clear the air so we can breathe freely again. Are you ready to face the truth even if it's not what you want to hear? Sometimes the most painful talks led to the most profound peace. Avoiding? Are you ready to step into this conversation with an open heart and open mind? This talk is a gift, a chance to rewrite our story with truth and courage. We need to talk about where we've been so we know where to go next. Are you ready to share what's been hidden beneath the surface for far too long? Sometimes silence protects us from pain, but talking can protect us from losing each other. We need to talk because words can heal wounds that actions alone cannot. Are you ready to confront the fears that have kept us apart? We need to talk before the distance between us becomes a canyon. Are you ready to let down your walls and meet me in the vulnerability we both need? Sometimes the only way forward is through the discomfort of truth. We need to talk because the story of to the voice inside me that longs to be understood. This talk might be difficult, but it's the first step toward the peace we both deserve. We need to talk about the dreams we still have, even if they've changed shape. Are you ready to face the reality of us, no matter how different it looks today? Sometimes the truth feels like a storm, but it's the rain we need to grow. We need to talk to clear the shadows so the light can come back in. Are you ready to hear what's real, even if it's uncomfortable? This conversation isn't about winning. It's about finding our way back to each other. We need to talk because hope lives in the space where honesty breathes. Are you ready to risk everything on a conversation that might save what we love? Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is to say, we need to talk. We need to talk because silence isn't peace. It's just the quiet before a storm. Are you ready to dive deep into the conversation that could change everything we thought we knew? This talk might be the moment where truth meets courage and changes our path forever. We need to talk, not to break us apart, but to build a stronger us. Are you ready to explore the feelings we've been hiding from, even from ourselves? Sometimes the right words come from the hardest conversations. Are you ready to find them? We need to talk because growth only begins when honesty is allowed to breathe. Are you ready to step into the unknown together, where truth leads the way? This conversation is the bridge between confusion and clarity. Will you cross it with me? We need to talk before the weight of unspoken words crushes what we have. Are you ready to be fully present, listening and speaking with an open heart? Sometimes the greatest gift we give each other is the courage to talk honestly. We need to talk because pretending to be okay is a disservice to what's real. Are you ready to face the shadows that hide behind our smiles? This talk isn't just about words. It's about reclaiming our connection. We need to talk, even if it feels like walking on fragile glass. Are you ready to hear the truths that may challenge you, but will set us free? Sometimes, the hardest conversations light the way to a brighter tomorrow. We need to talk because love without honesty is like a ship without a compass. Are you ready to meet me in the vulnerability that only truth can bring? This conversation will be uncomfortable, but it will also be the beginning of healing. We need to talk to clear the fog and see each other clearly again. Are you ready to share what's in your heart without fear of judgment? Sometimes talking is the only way to untangle the knots of misunderstanding. We need to talk, not to find fault, but to find understanding. Are you ready to listen with compassion and speak with honesty? This conversation might be the hardest step, but it's also the bravest. We need to talk because our silence has created a distance we can no longer ignore. Are you ready to face the truth that could either break us or make us? Sometimes, the words we fear to speak are the ones that will heal us. We need to talk because clarity is the first step toward peace. Are you ready to step into this conversation with courage and an open heart? This talk isn't the end. It's the start of a new chapter. We need to talk about the fears and hopes we've kept hidden too long. Are you ready to be honest, even if it means being vulnerable? Sometimes the truth feels like a storm, but it's the rain that helps us grow. We need to talk because pretending everything's okay only delays the inevitable. Are you ready to listen deeply? Not just to respond. This conversation is a chance to rebuild what's been shaken. We need to talk to find out if we're still on the same journey. Are you ready to risk everything on a conversation that could save us? Sometimes the bravest thing is to say, we need to talk. We need to talk because the silence between us is louder than any words. Are you ready to face the truth with honesty and compassion? This talk might be difficult, but it's necessary for growth. We need to talk to find the courage to be vulnerable. Are you ready to share your truth and listen to mine? Sometimes, the right words come only after the hardest conversations. We need to talk because avoiding the truth only deepens the wounds. Are you ready to take this step toward healing together? This conversation is the foundation for whatever comes next. We need to talk, not to blame, but to understand. Are you ready to embrace honesty, even if it's uncomfortable? Sometimes, talking is the only way to find peace. We need to talk because love deserves truth. Are you ready to be brave enough to speak and listen fully? This talk might change everything, but silence will keep us stuck. We need to talk to clear the confusion between us. Are you ready to be present in this moment with me? Sometimes, the most difficult conversations lead to the strongest bonds. We need to talk because honesty is the path to trust. Are you ready to face whatever comes with openness and grace? This conversation might be scary, but it's necessary. We need to talk to stop pretending and start healing. Are you ready to meet me in truth? Sometimes the hardest talks lead to the most beautiful beginnings. We need to talk because the future depends on what we say now. Are you ready to listen with an open heart? This talk is a chance to be honest with ourselves and each other. We need to talk. Because silence has become too heavy. Are you ready to face the truth, no matter how hard it is? We need to talk. Are you ready to hear the truth that's been hiding in the silence between us? Sometimes the hardest conversations bring the clearest light. Are you ready to step into that light with me? We need to talk, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary to move forward without regrets. This conversation might change everything, but staying silent is no longer an option for either of us. And we want to heal what's broken. We first need to be brave enough to face the words we're scared to say. Are you ready to listen to the quiet truth that's been waiting patiently to be heard? Sometimes the toughest talks are the ones that make us grow the most. Are you ready to grow with me? We need to talk because our story deserves more honesty and less pretending. Decide if we stay or go. Are you ready to peel back the layers and see the real feelings hiding beneath? There's no perfect time for hard talks, only the right courage to start them. Are you ready? We need to talk not to blame, but to understand the depths of what's been left unsaid. Are you ready to step into vulnerability, knowing it's the bravest place we can meet? What we say next won't just change our words, it will change our futures. The silence has stretched too long. Are you ready to break it and finally be heard? We need to talk because love isn't always easy, but it's always worth fighting for with truth. Are you ready to listen to the voice inside me that's been shouting in quiet for too long? This conversation is a mirror. Are you ready to look into it without fear? We need to talk, even if our hearts tremble, because growth always demands honesty. The truth might sting, but hiding it only deepens the wound. Are you ready to heal? We need to talk about what we're really feeling, not just what's safe to say. Are you ready to leave behind excuses and meet me in the raw reality of our story? This talk isn't just a moment, it's the turning point we've both been waiting for. Are you ready to finally say the things that have been weighing on your heart? We need to talk because ignoring the truth won't protect us from the pain. It only delays the healing. Are you ready to face the discomfort that comes before the calm? Sometimes the right talk comes when we least expect it, but always when we most need it. We need to talk because clarity is the first step toward peace. Are you ready to hear the honest words that might surprise you but will free us both? This conversation is our chance to rebuild trust or to finally understand where we stand. We need to talk, not just for ourselves, but for everything we once believed in. Are you ready to stop pretending that everything's okay and look at the cracks? Sometimes the hardest conversations bring the greatest relief. Are you ready to find that relief? We need to talk about the parts we've been avoiding because they hold the key to healing. Are you ready to open the door to honesty, even if it scares you? This isn't just any talk. It's the moment where our silence ends and our truth begins. We need to talk because what's been unspoken is starting to define us. Are you ready to step out of the comfort zone and into the reality of how we really feel? Sometimes, the only way forward is through the hardest talk. Are you ready to walk that path with me? We need to talk. Not to tear us apart, but to bring us closer with truth. Are you ready to take the risk of honesty, knowing it could either break or save us? This conversation might be uncomfortable, but it's necessary for the respect we owe ourselves. We need to talk because silence is no longer the answer to the questions we carry. Are you ready to listen without judgment and speak without fear? We need to talk about what scares us most because that's where the real growth lives. Are you ready to hold space for each other's truth, no matter how raw it is? This talk will test us, but it will also teach us what love really means. We need to talk because the future we want can only be built on truth. Are you ready to let go of the past and face the truth that will set us free? Sometimes talking feels like falling, But falling can be the start of flying. We need to talk about the fears hiding behind our smiles. Are you ready to embrace the discomfort of honesty for the promise of peace? We need to talk because silence has been our loudest enemy.